Alec, welcome back to the Islands of Fire, Survivor, Vanuatu, episode 9.
Yeah, this is it. We're post merge. We're headed towards
Yeah.
actual people who will be in the jury. But I gotta tell you, I'm pretty sad because our boy Rory is not gonna be in the jury. Not in the jury, and I'm sad.
Brutal.
It's real rough, man. It's real rough. Yeah, there's a bad feeling on the men's side. I think after last episode because they took a risk and
Yeah.
did not pay off.
So far, it does not seem to be the case. Shad was shocked by that. So they did not clue them in on the fact they were going to be voting that way. So seemed to have blindsided them. Julie and Twyla seemed to blindside the guys there.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, these next couple of votes will be very telling. Very telling to see what kind of direction we're going in, right? So
yeah, for sure.
Because you never know. You never know.
Yeah, there could be shaking things up a little bit. You could get rid of I don't know. You could go after
if you get the bottom of the women, like if there are women on the outs that want to shake up this power structure and not just watch Amy go all the way to the end, then you could have something there. But
yeah, that's gonna have to be though.
Decisions were made. I mean, you could do the same thing, like if men had voted out, like Julie last episode before the merge. It would have been even numbers, and then that could have spelled disaster for the women. And then you could have looked back on the women when they voted out Lisa and be like, "Oh, they shouldn't have voted out Lisa."
Well, I already thought that. Yeah, they shouldn't have done that. I thought that was wild that they did that.
Yeah,
it was nonsense.
They just had a little more wiggle room than the guys did, though. So because here they went from having even numbers to specifically less numbers, and they did not. The vote seems to not go as planned. We'll see reactions from the guys. So.
Yeah, be interesting to see.
So your power rankings going into this episode are Amy, Leanne, Julie, Twyla, Scout, Eliza, Chris, Sarge, and Chad. So if that rings true, then Chad should be the one to get voted out here.
Mm-hmm.
See how it goes.
We'll have to see.
He does have a leg up on some of the others.
He does. He just got a leg up on most of the women. So.
And he's gonna get sympathy. John tried to tell him.
He's gonna get sympathy.
Sympathy votes.
What? People always put so much like stake in that, and it's like, I mean, maybe, and also like if anything, that's a reason to hold on to him until close to the end, because then it's like they'll vote him out before they vote you out, kind of thing. Yeah. Not like it's not a reason to do at the merge vote this guy out because he would be a threat in the final two. Yeah, it's like it's a little weird.
It's a hard sell.
Yeah,
it's a hard sell. It's like if anything, he's a shield, right? It's like this guy. No one's gonna take him to the end. They'll take me to the end.
Yeah.
But all right, so we're gonna go into the episode. If you want to see the highlights of the reaction, you can click the link in the description and then come back afterwards for the discussion. All right.
Okay, let's do it. I don't understand.
All right, there we have it. Episode 9, Survivor Vanuatu.
Why did they all vote for different people? Was it because they knew that they couldn't win? That they couldn't convince? Well, did they know that they weren't able to convince Eliza?
Yeah, clearly they weren't able to convince Eliza or Twyla. And then Chris said, "I'll burn all of them. This is for you, not against you." So it must have been a foregone conclusion that he was going.
Yeah.
Chris trying to play some sort of the long con, but
a long game of some sort.
But I don't know how he ended up with Sarge voting Eliza, Chad voting for Julie, though. I don't know if it's just a symbolic thing. I don't know. Because they just really didn't have any hopes. They're all just...
I'd kind of rather... Yeah, I don't know. I guess because that was like a bombshell. We want to show you that's the last one. And that's
the fact that, it was a crazy one to show, but... It did kind of say, okay, well, obviously the plan they had before isn't going to happen because they won't have enough numbers. If they got Eliza and Twyla, it won't work anyway.
Like, is that why they just decided to just discuss strategy openly?
Yeah, well, clearly Sarge knew he was going, I guess.
Yeah,
because He just openly said it and put it out there. But again, I really can't wrap my head around why the votes were all three of them voted differently.
Yeah.
Because I could see Chris just flipping over to be a part of the majority, and then the other two being the same, but
But like,
different.
it was very weird.
Hmm.
That was weird. That whole part confused me. I mean, like honestly, just like we spent almost 10 minutes on trying to come up like a lot of times with these sort of Hail Mary strategies, we spend like maybe 3 to 4 minutes on.
Mm-hmm.
They spent like a significant amount of time, I felt, in the episode, sort of coming up with this cockamamie scheme.
Well, it seems like it's a valid strategy. You
It
know, it doesn't
is.
always work out. We don't know how we got here, but hopefully that'll be cleared up next time.
I
Uh,
don't think I have a
you
hard
gotta
time
clear
thinking
up
it's
how
going to be.
they gotta clear up why all their votes were different, right?
Yeah.
Gotta show something with that. I don't know.
I mean, they ultimately they have. I mean, we've seen the preview that seems like scouts trying to raise a some sort of resistance to the
Yeah,
tyranny of Amy. Like that's kind of what it looked like.
I
But
don't know. Yeah, some sort of resistance.
yeah, but it was kind of like
But that could be fake news too. I
it
mean,
could be whole fake news. Yeah, I mean we got kind of fake news in the last one a little bit. So
but this is really interesting. The thought going into it, you know, like because originally they were like, let's try to convince the women to vote for Eliza, say that she was coming to try to work with us.
mm-hmm.
And then as they were thinking, they're like, oh, maybe when Sarge had a conversation with Twyla, and then she seemed to be remorseful and
Yeah,
regretful.
yeah,
Then they were like, oh, if we could pull Eliza, maybe we could all vote, and then we
for
could take
someone.
out the
Yeah,
women.
yeah,
But that got lost along the way because I wonder what happened since that conversation with Twyla. Like,
yeah. Because Twyla seemed like she was kind of on board a little bit.
yeah, because everything we heard from her was that she
I
wanted to
felt
be with the
sorry
men.
for
Yeah.
yeah. Julie screwed me over. She convinced me I like the men more, and then it was like yeah, well we'll get rid of Sarge though.
Yeah.
I was like
The
I don't
fact that she
understand.
voted for Sarge when Sarge seemed to be like the closest to.
The closest is the closest to her, and he even was like rightfully so. You are in the lowest. You're like the lowest tier pecking order if it just comes down to the women. Like you're gonna be out like first thing.
Hmm.
You and Eliza. He's right. That like we earlier on there was a lot of tension with Twyla with the rest of the women.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't
Well,
know. I don't get it.
she did
I
say in
don't.
a confessional she's willing to go wherever will get her further. So she must have had a reason to believe that
This she'll get
voting
further this way
Sarge will be
somehow.
better.
I don't
Well,
know.
if they weren't, if like she was sure that they weren't able to convince Eliza, then that would make sense. You have to
Yeah,
go vote Sarge.
yeah, it's true.
So yeah, I guess
So
it's not too
it
wild, but
yeah, I guess
it all comes down to
maybe it's
Eliza.
Eliza not wanting to go over to them, even though Eliza's like no one likes her,
Because we didn't
and she knows
because we
that.
didn't see any of the pitch to Eliza, you know,
Yeah,
so we don't know
yeah, it
how
must have
well
been.
they
Yeah,
pitched that, but it has to be fall down on Eliza, and then at that point, maybe the votes were just like spite votes, where
yeah,
Sarge is like, Eliza didn't want to vote with us, I'll vote for her, and Chad's like, Julie screwed us, so I'll vote
yeah.
Julie, and then
And
Chris
then
is like,
Chris
oh,
is
I'm
like,
gonna be with the group here, so vote
"Yeah,
Sarge.
I'm gonna be with the group because I hate them. They're all gonna burn."
Yeah, and he'll play the long game, but
Long game. Yeah, somehow he'll get there. Don't know how, but
yeah. Well,
well, the
so
rest of the episode, we had a little pig brought to camp. Pig was adorable,
yeah.
and I loved him, and I would want to eat him as well.
Then you had a problem with the reward challenge being the puzzle, the colorful puzzle
I
memory
did.
challenge.
I call BS on that one because
But
colorblindness is common in men.
but couldn't you do that with almost anything? There's like something that will make you disadvantaged at one thing or another.
But that one in particular was very like was just extremely like that. That looked like a test, like a test to be like, are you red green colorblind?
Hmm.
Here, try to figure this out. Like that's straight. They had like reds and greens all together. The
I'm
whole
not red green
puzzle.
colorblind, so I would have been fine.
Well,
But I also
that's
could just
good
suck
for
at that.
you.
You can just suck at these things. They could
Well,
suck.
that's also possible. But
So, but
I don't know.
Amy got it. She got it.
Amy's just a color master, you know.
And then wait, that was the. Oh, never mind. I said reward. That was the immunity.
That was
Leanne
immunity.
won the reward challenge,
And she
which was the classic targeting each other challenge,
Yeah.
which was predictable. All the guys went out first, but and then
Yeah.
the one notable thing is that Eliza was the first of the women go to be taken out, and so she was
Yeah.
pissed about that.
Yeah.
So we're like, that was where there was. It's always been brewing that she's on the bottom.
Yeah.
And on the outs. So
there was an amazing moment earlier on in the episodes where Scout was just singing to Sarge.
Great scene.
It was one of the most uncomfortable things. The music was like all really weird and serious too, like the background music, and she was just doing this. Oh, oh. I was like, it's
Sarge
just
giving
to
this
Sarge
glare,
being so pissed. And I was like,
Sarge is pissed about Estrogen City coming in.
Estrogen City. Yeah, he said that like 2 or 3 times in this episode.
Love that. He was like, "Oh, this
Estrogen
is great."
City.
Estrogen City, they'll love
I'm
it.
gonna use that line. I'm gonna love it. All the boys back home will love it.
That might be a good episode title, Estrogen City.
Estrogen City. Well, I mean that's what's continuing to happen. Another man's gone. Sarge is out.
I mean, if anything, if we are in for a pagonging, at least where it won't be that much longer if that is how it goes. But hopefully
it's not, because I like this cast.
Yeah.
But I don't like. I'm not overly keen on like how the season has like played out, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Right. It's been kind of dull in a lot of ways. They're fun, but like the vote results all end up being like, oh, okay.
Well, we had interesting ones. We had the Lisa one was not expected,
I mean, the Lisa one was
and then the John K one shouldn't have happened that way.
The Lisa one was wild, but the John K one was like, it shouldn't have happened, but they were talking about it the whole time that it was going to happen. So
yeah, but it's still interesting, the interplay, to where it was so firmly divided between men and women in the beginning, and that really cements that mindset going into the season. It's like men versus women, and then they interchanged the tribes, and there was already like Chris and Sarge were all on board with Julie and Twyla within those few days, and they trusted them so much that they voted out John.
Because they wanted to get rid of the weaker link, because they recognize them as potentially stronger allies than the wimpier men who've been on the outs with them.
So it's cool. There's at least the interplay there. I mean,
well, that's what I mean. That's what I'm saying. The group and the dynamics are interesting, but like how everything's played out has been fairly boring. Other than I would say that the Lisa one was the most interesting. I think just because like that one was very like. What? That was almost out of left field.
Like, and it was sad to see Rory go at the merge, but it was still an interesting vote how it played out there. So are you sad to see Sarge go?
Yeah, I liked Sarge. I thought he added a determinism to the to everything, and it was funny to me being like, wow, he's a good worker. And that was like his most important thing. He was like, she's a great worker. I'd love to have her be my number 2.
He loves hard workers. He would have had like Brady there with him to the end if he had had his way. Like, Brady's a good worker.
It was funny. I kind of liked that. I like that. Like he's a good worker. He ought to be here.
Yeah. And so now we're down to just Chad and Chris, the 2 guys left
in Estrogen City.
Yeah. Just Chad and Chris in Estrogen City.
Yeah.
How will they navigate it?
That sounds like that's an adventure film. Yeah. It's like Bill and Ted, Chad and Chris.
Chad and Chris's adventures in Estrogen City.
Yeah, adventures in Estrogen City.
So
power rankings now. Well, I don't even know anymore. This got all confusing now.
So according to your power rankings, you weren't far off. It would have been Chad technically, but Sarge was right above him at the bottom. So.
I mean, I think I'm mostly going to keep it the same.
So it made sense they voted Sarge out of them because he's obviously the best competition. So
I still keep Twyla and Eliza in the bottom tier of the women. Yeah, Amy, still.
Mm-hmm.
Amy and Leanne. Amy, Leanne, Scout, Julie, Twyla, Eliza, Chad, Chris. Or Chris, Chad.
Chris
Kind of
Chad.
interchangeable at this point. Yeah, Chris, Chad, I think is what I'd say. Yeah.
So we should expect Chad to go home next.
That's if all
the
things
same.
remain equal. Yep.
So who would you award your MVP to for the episode?
Ooh, MVP for the episode.
It's interesting. There's no real one person that's kind of stood out.
Yeah, there's not really. Can I give it to the pig?
No, the pig cannot.
Okay. Pig was pretty cute though.
Just like Doc couldn't receive the MVP, and he's a human being.
I would have given the pig that. I would have called him Napoleon.
Okay.
I think that's an Animal Farm joke. I think I'm gonna give it to Chad. The reason why is because he's the one that came up with that plan.
It's true.
He's the one that came up with that plan. And
plan that did not happen, but
that didn't happen. But he's the one who
gave
was
you
like,
hope.
It did. It gave us hope.
Moment.
So much hope. It gave me hope in that moment. And I was like, I believe in you.
Chad out of nowhere.
Yeah, Chad out of nowhere. Really, it kind of was. Didn't
Perhaps
you never...
the most interesting person in the season.
He's why would you say that? Is it because he's...
For me, he's like one of the most boring of the great cast. I think he's one of the least interesting of the cast.
But hey, he's missing a leg, so you know that just makes him already memorable.
Yeah.
Makes him stand above the rest in a way.
Yeah, yeah. That's fair though. Yeah, there's not.
Yeah, you don't want to go out on a limb and say that he's not the best person. I mean, he's not, but you know, we gotta
Right,
keep
enough of the stump speech, Alec. All right.
That's the best one so far. I like that one. Okay. We're gonna keep them coming here. The Tarqaron.
No more.
No more.
What was the one thing we were going on about? I don't even remember. Oh,
Estrogen
about
City?
the cracks. We were talking about.
Oh yeah, the cracks.
Finding cracks.
Finding cracks.
Whatnot.
You gotta find the cracks in the strategy.
Yeah.
There's some big cheek. They've got some cheek, you know. That they're showing.
So regardless of where the season goes, I mean, we've had fun times. We had some fun times here.
We have. Nothing quite to Produce Ryan levels, but we have had fun times here.
We'll see. There's still so much of the season left. So
that's true. We could have our Produce Ryan moment.
Well,
our Rob redemption arc.
We're just living in Estrogen City.
Yeah, that's kind of what's going on right now.
So good luck to us all.
Good luck to us all.
Godspeed. All right.
Yeah,
that's it. What would you recommend our viewers go watch after this video?
Go watch episode 2 of Pearl Islands.
Episode 2 of Pearl Islands. Which one is that?
It's the one where Produce Ryan gets voted out.
Right. Is that true? Is the second one?
Yeah, he was the second. No, the second victim was what's her name?
Lil,
yeah.
Lil.
I think she was number 2, right?
I don't know.
And then it was Produce Ryan. I think I might be. Maybe I'm remembering. Maybe I flipped them.
Go watch episode 2.
Yeah, just go watch episode 2. Find out. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was someone else entirely.
Isn't it it's kind of crazy to think about? We've been through 4 whole seasons at this point of reactions.
Yeah.
And then now halfway through this one.
Yeah, that is kind of crazy.
Thailand, Amazon, Pearl Islands, All Stars, Vanuatu, and then we did reviews on all of the seasons. So
yeah,
come a long way.
Crazy.
Come along. I went and watched like a reaction to one of the Survivor Thailand episodes recently, and it's just so weird to watch. It was so different.
Or our format different, or just like our.
Just the vibe, Survivor Thailand is not it.
It was that's bad vibes all around that whole season.
It was like episode 12 I just watched randomly.
Yeah.
I'm like, what's going on here?
What's happening?
Not that interesting. Not that much interesting stuff's happening.
No,
here.
there wasn't much. It was kind of Brian wins the game. That was the whole season. Yep,
but it got interesting the last couple episodes. I think still the last episode of that season is my favorite.
Didn't you say that something like the game begins or something? Wasn't that one of them?
13, yeah. Out of 15.
That was basically what it felt like.
Yeah,
it was terrible.
Because once they voted out the last person without Jake,
Yeah.
Jeff was like, well, there's 5 of you left, and you're all from the same tribe. So now it's
Yeah.
time to turn on each other.
Yeah.
It's like,
So
yep,
it's
the
like,
game
wow,
begins.
the game begins. You have Ted. There he is. Ted.
Who could forget?
Who
Thank
could
you for
forget?
watching. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to our podcast feed. Like the video. Leave a comment. Hit the notification bell. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram. And like us on Facebook. Tarqaron. TWO.
2.
All right.